Hi, I'm Dita, and I'm here today to show you how to set your bearings on a roll, on a run, with no tools. One of the hardest parts of setting bearings is getting them properly seated into the plastic bearing seating. If you don't properly seat them, as you roll, they'll seat themselves, and that'll create play in between your wheel nut and the hanger portion of your axle. That slip, depending on what you're doing, could cause you some issues if you expect your foot to be here and then it shifts over 1/8 of an inch. Wrong time, wrong place. So it's really important to set them firmly into the bearing seatings. These wheels have a hard bearing seating, which sometimes makes it pretty easy to pop in, but sometimes they're more difficult. There is a technique where you seat them as deep as you can, and then people use their wheel nut and crank it down until it pushes it. Unfortunately, that puts a lot of pressure on only the inner race of the bearings because that's how big the wheel nut is. So all the pressure is going right there. Also, it could additionally impact the shield if you're using another tool to push down on that point. What I would recommend is, a stacking technique where I take the bearings shield side down and stack them, take the wheel, pop them right into place. I do all the fronts of the wheels first because with roller skate wheels, we have an offset bearing seating. So it doesn't set directly in the center of the wheel, it sets further over to the inside, and that has a lot to do with the length of our trucks. Had our trucks been wider, it would allow us to have a center bearing seating like the skateboarders do. Being as it's deeper in one area than the other, it makes it a lot harder to get it into this side. I stack my bearings shield side down, pop them right into place, remove the front one. The back one's a lot easier and can usually just be done with your fingers, especially with the hard seating. But I would recommend keeping an extra bearing in your bag anyway, and then you always have a little one to help you seat. Push back these guys. Once your bearings are set, especially if you do it on the fly, you really want to go ahead and make sure that you test them after you roll in them for about 5 or 10 minutes in case you didn't seat something correctly. That shift now, because it could have an 1/8 to a 1/16 to 32nd of something play in it, which could cause you problems if you're skating. All right, I got all the fronts in, all the backs in. You saw how quick it was? All bearings are set in about, I would say about 10 seconds each one. One of the ways too that you can check to see if your bearing is seated correctly is if you can hold it, some people's fingers aren't long enough, directly into the inner race and roll it, it shouldn't wobble. If a bearing is in there crooked, you'll notice there'll be a wobble as you roll it. So these ones are all seated nicely. Now that all our bearings are seated, as you've seen with my stacking technique, I'm getting ready to roll. So if you like this, go ahead and subscribe it, like it with the like button, and follow us for more quick tips on the roll.